My 18M girlfriend, 18F, wants an open relationship, to last until older, and I think I can't handle it. Sorry if this shit turns out to be too long, I just think I needed to get it off my chest. I'll wholeheartedly appreciate if you read it and give me your opinion on it. My 18M girlfriend, 18F, wants to open our relationship since we're young and claims that if we want to last until older we have to experience our youth and our sexuality. We've been together for over a year now and have just moved in for the summer to a small apartment for 2 months, and we're each going to be working at different bars as waiters, so if anything happens between us right now, I'll still be having to see her for almost 2 months. I'm a very jealous guy and she's given me reasons in the past to be worried about her. She's been easily manipulated, has some strong impulses every now and then, in her past relationship she had cheated, and generally likes male attention. Yet anything that's ever happened to her, she has voluntarily told me about it with all the necessary details so we could discuss it and make sure it didn't affect us. I know if anything happens we can talk it out, yet I'm afraid things can actually happen. She just doesn't like hiding stuff from me. To give some context of the situation, she asked to open our relationship around a month ago since we were going to our high school closure vacation. We studied in different schools, so we each, separately, were going with our respective classmates for a week to different destinations to both visit landmarks and get drunk, party and fool around. Not necessarily in a sexual way, celebrating the finale of high school. For the last few months, I had been going through some tough shit with my father and have been very emotional and sensitive because of it. I take as personal many things people do and easily feel bad for stuff. Because of this, I told her that I thought I wasn't ready for opening up. She insisted that time was ticking and that she really didn't want me to cut her wings, or make her not feel free, during her trip because of monogamy. Even though she understood I wasn't feeling okay, she told me it was my problem that even after months I was still not emotionally strong to bear the opening of the relationship. She gave me the ultimatum of opening up or breaking up. To which of course I chose opening up, because when comparing the outcomes, I'd rather feel uncomfortable for the upcoming week due to having an open relationship than simply be broken down due to losing the girl I love. She had told me several times that her intentions weren't to have intercourse with anyone, nor make out with nobody, and I know she didn't have anyone in mind to go to once we opened up. She just wanted to feel free when pubbing with her friends, dance and not feel uncomfortable if a guy came up to her and flirted with her. Of course, she told me, if a guy or girl attracted her enough she'd do whatever she felt like, since that's what the open relationship is about, but it wasn't her main interest. After the week in the trip she told me she had fun and that, as she expected, didn't find anyone attractive enough to take to bed or even make out. I trust her when she says this, because as I said, she usually doesn't hide things from me. On my side, I didn't even look at a single girl. I fully focused on my friends and on the trip, even knowing I could hook up with anyone I wanted to. I have come to discover I am really into my girl and just can't find attractive any other chick. At least not enough to go and talk to. And even if I did, I still wouldn't do anything because I'd just feel guilty about it. When we were not yet a couple, we had a few months long period of being best friend, fuck buddies. It was like having an open relationship but without noticing we were falling in love with each other. No feelings involved, right? During this period, even though we had the right to hook up with anyone we wanted, she was overly jealous. Like, toxic level jealous. If someone texted me while with her she'd look. If I eyed some girl she'd get mad, and if I made out with any girl she'd rage about it. This made me feel guilty for everything. On the other hand, in the beginning at least, I was okay with anything she wanted to do. But as time went by, her jealousy was transmitted to me, and I started becoming toxic jealous for everything too. After a while we started actually dating and engaged in a closed relationship, and neither of us had interest in any other person. My jealousy remained, even if she didn't give me reasons to be jealous, and hers has started to wash off, almost a year later. 2 weeks ago we moved into our new apartment and will be staying until August ends. After a few days here, I told her I was not comfortable with the open relationship, and she told me she was okay with closing it up again. Yet, reminding me that in the future we will have to open it if we want to last until older. I said I was okay with it, because I really am. I just think I need a long process of assimilating what an open relationship is and to be prepared for it. I don't find it the appropriate time to open it now. I thought this was clear for her, until yesterday she brought up the topic again and said she really wants to open it, even now that we're living in the same apartment. I told her many times how I really want to talk everything out and make sure I'm ready for such a step, But really, every time I think about it my stomach aches and I really don't want her messing with other dudes. Just as I have no interest in doing so with other girls. Her family and the media has convinced her that right now she shouldn't be focusing on couples and that she really has to explore with more people. But she's already had like 7 sexual partners whilst I've had 2. One don't know if I'm just doing everything wrong and Elm the bad guy here or really she's forcing this because she's starting to lose feelings for me. Every time the topic comes up I try to talk about it and she refuses to engage in a conversation because she thinks it leads to nowhere. Yet the relationship has to open up otherwise I, too, be almost oppressing her. I don't know what to do at this point. And I'm not sure what the big question is. Maybe Elm just getting this off my chest. Any advice on what should I do? This OS really starting to hurt me so. Should I break up with her since we're not going to agree on something? Too long did not read. My girl forced me to open our relationship and nothing happened. I told her that I hadn't felt comfortable and that I didn't want to have it open. She was okay with it until she insisted in opening it up again. And it just hurts honestly. Thanks for reaching the end and sorry for stealing so much time from you sad face. Brother, if someone forces you to open a relationship, you force them to pack their shit and move the F out. Respect your own boundaries or else no will. You can do better my man. You're a monogamist, she's polyamorous. If you're not okay with it, end the relationship. She clearly doesn't value your feelings or emotions if she keeps pushing it. Plus your ideas about your relationship don't align. It's a recipe for disaster. Okay, so she cheated in her previous relationship. Now she has the brilliant idea to open your relationship so you can give her permission to cheat? Please read that out loud. You want her. She on the other hand wants everyone. You guys are just not compatible. At 18 you've just entered adulthood. You can easily find someone who has more impulse control and not want to screw anyone who smiles at her. And just because she told you nothing happened doesn't mean nothing happened. She wants to fuck other guys. If you're not okay with that, then your relationship is over. If it hurts you, you are no obligation to do something because she wants to. If she wants to play the field, tell her she will be doing it solo. You're allowed to have limits. Girlfriend 22, F puts a limit on what she should do for me 23, M because she is not my wife. Girlfriend 22, F puts a limit on what she should do for me 23, M because she is not my wife. So my girlfriend and I have been dating for about 7 months now. She has constantly brought up a lot of situations where she would not be willing to do things for me because I didn't put a ring on it. That includes making me food or trying something different in bed or just taking care of me a certain way or taking care of me too much. Since we have been together, I have done so much for this girl. I never for 1 second thought of what I would put a limit on in terms of what I would do for my girlfriend. Because I never felt like there was a limit as to what you would do for your partner if you really loved them. I never thought you needed a title to determine how much and how far you would go for your partner. Since we began dating, I have taken care of this girl by covering her rent for a month because she has not been working. Buy her a new laptop because she didn't have a laptop for school and needed a laptop. MacBook Pro. To help her with her side hustles or as just being able to do schoolwork, and just for straight up necessities. I have also went to Chicago with this girl in January and covered everything which amounted to around $2,000 the whole trip. Since dating, this girl has not spending money on one single date or bought me a single gift except on my birthday which was prior to me asking her to be my GF. And I never for once asked. I have covered every single date. I don't know how much data have been on Abbott, I know it's been over 100 plus. I have bought her gifts for Christmas. I have bought her gifts for Valentine's Day. I bought her flowers after every one I get for her dies, so it's like once every 2 or 3 weeks. I also was just about to plan an over $2,000 vacation to the Dominican Republic for her birthday. I will add that since we started dating she has not been working a consistent job and had to quit her last job right before we start talking because of harassment going on the job, being that the job is majorly men. My point is L have never put a limit as to what I would do for her because wife or not, I love her and I would do anything for her. She did make me breakfast a couple times months ago, but she all of a sudden switched and said I am not going to do these things unless you put a promise ring on it or actually marry me. In a heated argument we had a few days ago, I asked her, you always have a general rule as to what you would do for me if I didn't put a ring on your finger, so tell me what the general should be for me as what I would do for you since you were not my wife? She proceeded to tell me that she's only focused on what benefits her in a relationship and she doesn't even think about that. So, because I never thought about it, and because she never thought about it, I'd like to ask Reddit, What do you think is the limit as to what a man should do for the girlfriend who is not their wife? It could be paying for their bills, spending money on a vacation, visiting them too much. What would you put the limit on as to what you would do? Hopefully I can get some answers and different perspectives from both men and women. This is not about her behavior but your acceptance of it. If you want a better, more grateful and giving girlfriend, then go date one. She's taking whatever she can and it's working. Honestly, I think you could stand to take a lesson from her in saying, "We're not at a place in the relationship where I'm comfortable doing that, because having blown this much money on someone you've only been dating 7 months is ridiculous." Granted, so is her pushing you to propose, but she's obviously looking forward to getting her hands on your bank accounts more directly. Walk away, and spend a little more time figuring out whether the person you're dating is generous in spirit and prepared to reciprocate your generosity before you just open your wallet and start throwing cash around. She doesn't want you, she wants to be married. And after only 7 months? I'd get out fast. So, you paid for some of her rent but she can't be bothered to cook for you because she doesn't have a ring? Am I seriously summing this up right? Boy, please, you know this is ridiculous. Find someone who isn't a fucking gold digger. Woman here. I think this relationship sounds very superficial and transactional. She wants a luxury lifestyle where she's always being pampered while giving little to nothing back in return. Not wanting to cook for you is just petty and ridiculous. She has no problem sharing her body with you and exchanging bodily fluids with you, but cooking you a meal is where she draws the line. You might as well hire a prostitute. 'Cause that's basically what she is, whether she knows it or not. I understand wanting a man who can provide for himself and his wife, family, but some of these women take it too far. Gil, 73 female. Freaked out at me, 22 female, and my boyfriend, 22 male, because she doesn't think I'd be a good wife. For some background, me and my boyfriend have just moved into his grandparents' house 6 days ago because they offered us no rent and were generally very supportive of the idea, as they were the ones who recommended we do this in the first place. We were previously living on our own and renting our own apartment, but severely struggling due to working full-time to pay the bills and going to college. To start off, we moved in with his grandparents 6 days ago and everything has been perfect. And I mean perfect. We have started saving money due to no longer having to pay rent. We applied to multiple jobs and we have both graduated recently prior to moving. His grandparents have been exceptionally sweet and supportive of us. They offer us food almost every day as his grandma cooks an astounding amount. They offer us flowers from their garden and generally offer to give us a lot. That being said, we don't ask for any of it. We are used to living on our own and doing our own thing, so this has been very nice and we have accepted most of their offers, but we don't need these things. Earlier today, we went strawberry picking. This is a big part of the story. Just hold on. And I cut up all the strawberries, after giving his grandparents some, and froze them for us to make smoothies out of. I put the overripe strawberries and the tops of the ones I cut off into their compost bin they use for their own gardens as his grandpa recommended I do. About an hour later, his grandma yells down the stairs for my boyfriend to come up and talk to her. He goes up in about 5 minutes after I follow. I walk upstairs to hear her yelling at him about how I cut the strawberries wrong, and how I am extremely wasteful. She then goes on about how I will make a terrible wife. I'm not joking. Because I don't cook 3 times a day for him. I don't make the bed in the morning. We live downstairs, so she had to have come downstairs when we weren't home to check the room. And I do nothing all day. After she saw that I was upstairs, she proceeded to repeat all of that to my face and add on that I should be doing all of this for him as I am the woman in the relationship. The one thing that stuck with me because she kept on repeating it, was that I do nothing all day, nothing. Which is wrong. I do the cleaning, laundry, groceries and we usually take turns cooking. Although admittedly my boyfriend used to do most of the cooking due to me working long hours. We haven't cooked much since we moved down because she offers us food every single day for almost every meal. So maybe that one I understand? Although we have never asked her for anything. I don't know, her temper came out of nowhere and honestly scared me a bit. One thing is for sure, she was very mad at me and only me. I've never seen her react this way to anything as she is usually very well-mannered and well-tempered. What do you think is going on here? Dementia? Do I have a right to be angry she treated me this way? What do you think is going on here? Generational gap. Her view of what a woman is supposed to be gentle, outdated. Sure. If that's what you want to be, it's fine. But you don't have to be like that. Also, she's disrespectful AF. Do I have a right to be angry she treated me this way? Of course. You've just find out that their offer is not no strings attached. Now you have to sit down with your boyfriend and make a plan. Will he sit down with her and explain how disrespectful she was and how she owes you an apology? Will the two of you start looking for new accommodations? Will your boyfriend allow her to treat you like that because he has no spine? Observe and act accordingly. I get both points. On your side, did you offer to cook or at least help her? And as a host, I believe she was doing her duties. This is a fairly new arrangement, and she was probably trying to make y'all as comfortable as possible. Doesn't mean she doesn't require the help nonetheless. I'm trying to picture a scenario where she would ask you to assist her, but I think she thought you'd offer. However, the way she went about it is not right. She could have sat y'all down and established boundaries. Maybe have a talk with her, and see how y'all can work together from now on. What did your boyfriend say? Did he try to defend you? Everyone's saying you should offer to do more, but to be honest, she sounds like the kind of person who will just say you don't do things right, cooked the wrong food, cleaned the wrong way or whatever. Give it a shot or two, but don't be surprised if your efforts aren't good enough. That might be telling about what is to come. Well, it sounds like grandma's got a case of the strawberry madness. Maybe she's just really protective of her fruit. As for being angry, it's totally valid. Who wants to be yelled at for strawberry cutting skills? My 34M. Now married ex-girlfriend, 36F, threw herself at me. But there's a big problem, 30F. Me and my ex met in my later 20s while working at a hospital and dated on and off for a while until exclusively dating for about 18 months. She was only my first long relationship. I'd always been a serial dater, hookup person, but I really cared for her. I loved her. I would have married her if we had a little more time together. Then COVID hit. She took a job as a traveling nurse. We broke up but were on reasonable terms. Along the way she met someone and in my opinion hastily got married. She seemed happy and was now 1,500 miles away. Since then loosely kept in touch via FB. Last year I attended a wedding and while talking to another single attendee discovered she was my ex's younger cousin, 30F. We talked a bit about my ex and cousin blamed me for ex leaving, that I had pushed her away, etc. I didn't agree with her assessment but I could understand how someone might interpret the end of our relationship. It was complex. Cousin did not like me. Towards the very end of the night, both of us a little tipsy but not drunk, she grabbed my arm and said, "I really don't like you but I need to dance," and we danced to a song, then stayed there for a slow song and holding her there was just something crazy looking into each other's eyes. We ended up practically running to my hotel room, barely said a word to each other and had an absolutely amazing night of sex. Maybe every month or so, we hook up. No dinner, barely conversation, we just find a place and get to it. I'm able to oblige her kinks, it is just physical, there is nothing deeper going on. So far so good. 2 weeks ago my ex moved back, with her husband, for work. She still had my phone number, texted me asking if I'd meet her for coffee and to catch up. We met on Wednesday and she wasted no time. She hated her life, she hated her husband. Everything she had done since we split up was a mistake, she regretted the way we split. She told me she's divorcing him ASAP, she doesn't need him for anything, and she wants to be with me. She initiated a very deep, passionate kiss. While holding my hand she asked if we could go have a drink or go to my place, and I knew where that was going and said we should just slow down a little bit. She later sent me some very risque photos. I would give up everything with cousin in a heartbeat if it meant getting back with ex. But I don't know how she would react if I tell her about the hookups. On one hand she was married, on the other hand it was her cousin. I could try and keep my mouth shut and stop things with cousin but I have a feeling she would probably blab out of revenge. Do I tell ex about it right away? Do I wait and see? Do I not say anything and hope for the best? I really don't have any friends I'd trust telling this situation, so I'm asking you all how you'd approach it. Thanks. Have you lost your mind? You are sleeping with her cousin. She's married until the divorce papers are signed. She's a cheater. That means she has no integrity. Really bad idea. Even if you did get together, it wouldn't last. She's using you because she screwed up her life. Run. Seriously? That whole family sounds pretty insane and you need to run from all of them. From the cousin, hating you but the fireworks were just too amazing. To the ex cheating on her husband. $20 says the cousin told her you two were banging and the ex is trying to get back at the cousin. Either way, it's an absolute shit show. What are you doing? Can't tell if this is inspired by daytime soap operas or by porn. You are a disaster, my man. What are you doing? She's married, and the idea you've built up into your head that she was isn't who she is. You're putting your ex on a pedestal, she might not even leave her husband and you're just being used as a toy. I feel so bad for the cousin. You should probably stay single and block both of these women from your life.